Many species of wild bees, butterflies, and other critters that pollinate plants are shrinking toward extinction, and our food supplies could be about to suffer, warns the UN. The 20,000 or so species of pollinators are key to hundreds of billions of dollars worth of crops each year, from fruits and vegetables to coffee and chocolate. Yet 2 out of 5 species of insect pollinators are under threat from a mix of farming, pesticides, and a loss of habitat. Pollinators with backbones, such as hummingbirds and bats, are only slightly better off, with 1 in 6 species facing extinction. We are in a period of decline and there are going to be increasing consequences, said report lead author Simon Potts, director of the Centre for Agri-Environmental Research at the University of Reading in England. And it's not just honeybees. In some aspects they're doing better than many of their wild counterparts, like the bumblebee, despite dramatic long-term declines in the United States and a mysterious disorder that has waned. Among the culprits are the way farming has changed, pesticide use, habitat loss to cities, disease, parasites, and pathogens, and global warming. The report is the result of more than 2 years of work by scientists across the globe who got together under several different UN agencies to come up with an assessment of Earth's biodiversity, starting with the pollinators. It is an effort similar to what the UN has done with global warming, putting together an encyclopedic report to tell world leaders what's happening and give them options for what can be done. The report, which draws from many scientific studies but no new research, was approved by a Congress of 124 nations meeting in Kuala Lumpur. The variety and multiplicity of threats to pollinators and pollination generate risks to people and livelihoods, the report stated. These risks are largely driven by changes in land cover and agricultural management systems, including pesticide use. But these are problems that can be fixed, and unlike global warming, the solutions don't require countries to agree on global action, they can act locally, said Robert Watson, a top British ecological scientist and vice chairman of the scientific panel. The solutions offered mostly involve changing the way land and farming is managed. There are relatively simple, relatively inexpensive mechanisms for turning the trend around for native pollinators, said David Inouye of the University of Maryland, a co-author of a couple chapters in the report. One of the biggest problems, especially in the United States, is that giant swaths of farmland are devoted to just one crop, and wildflowers are disappearing, Potts and others said. Wild pollinators especially do well on grasslands, which are usually more than just grass, and 97% of Europe's grasslands have disappeared since World War II, Potts said. England now pays farmers to plant wildflowers for bees in hedgerows, Watson said. There are both general and specific problems with some pesticide use, according to the report. Pesticides, particularly insecticides, have been demonstrated to have a broad range of lethal and sublethal effects on pollinators in controlled experimental conditions, the report added. But it noted more study is needed on the effects on pollinators in the wild. Herbicides kill off weeds, which are useful for wild pollinators, the report added. The report highlighted recent research that said the widely used insecticide neonicotinoid reduces wild bees' chances for survival and reproduction, but the evidence of effects on honeybees is conflicting.